there is this common theme that really hooks people into kind of the entrepreneurial dream, the time freedom, the financial freedom, having the fancy cars in the garage and all the money in the bank and sitting on the beach with your laptop. And we've all seen it. We've all heard it. And you really, of course it sounds really good, right? But the real question is, why do you want to do this? What is your ultimate driving force? What inspires you? What do you want to spend your life, your days doing?
This is The Entrepreneur Way with Neil Ball. Unlocking the secrets of successful entrepreneurs 7 days a week. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter at Neil D. Ball. Napoleon Hill said the power of the mastermind is the driving force. To discover how you can unlock the potential in your business using the power of a mastermind, go to mastermindunlimited.com. And now, here is your host, Neil Ball.
Hello, it's Neil Ball. Thank you so much for joining me today on The Entrepreneur Way. The Entrepreneur Way is about the entrepreneur's journey, the vision, the mindset, the commitment, the sacrifice, failures and successes. I am so excited to bring you our special guest today, Alicia Cramer. But before I introduce you to her, I have a quote for you from Albert Einstein. To raise new questions, new possibilities, to regard old problems from a new angle requires creative imagination and marks real advance in science. The Entrepreneur Way asks the questions so we all get the insight, inspiration and ideas to apply in our businesses. Alicia, welcome to the show. Are you ready to share your version of the Entrepreneur Way with us?
Yes, I am.
Thank you for coming on the show, Alicia. Alicia Cramer is a renowned mindset expert, an author, speaker, coach, consultant, and serial entrepreneur. She has been written about in Forbes and has been a guest on numerous radio shows, including ESPN Denver and Fox Business Radio, for her work with entrepreneurs. Alicia, can you provide us with some more insight into your business and personal life to allow us to get to know more about what you do and who you are?
Absolutely. So there are two different core aspects of my business. I am fairly well known for my work previously as a hypnotherapist and how that has transitioned into my work now as a business and mindset coach. So there's that avenue of my business. I work with all different types of entrepreneurs, from startups to very successful, well-established small business owners, on mindset-related challenges that affect us in life and in business. There's also another facet of my business, and that is as more of a business and marketing consultant. So that's where I actually am working inside of my clients' businesses with them on more of the tactical business development stuff, if you will. Me personally, my life is so much my business and my business is so much my life that it's kind of hard to sometimes separate the two. But I am a mom and my family is so important to me. I homeschool my son, which means that for me, business is it's very important that it's a lifestyle business for me, that I can very strategically balance with being a mom. So that's just a little bit of the world of Alicia on a day-to-day basis.
You talked about the mindset, being a mindset coach. What sort of mindset things do you sort out as a mindset coach?
Well, it varies. So we're all human. It does not matter how successful you consider yourself to be. It does not matter how much money you have in the bank, how many employees you have on the payroll. It doesn't matter if you live in a big house or a tiny apartment. We all have internal things that we bump up against. It could be something as general as just a lack of confidence. It could be something more specific, like a fear or a specific phobia, whether it is fear of speaking in front of groups. Now, as an entrepreneur, that's a problem. Sometimes they're personal things, and our personal lives do affect our businesses. So it's not uncommon for clients to seek me out for a very specific challenge that they've been struggling with. And then we end up going into different areas of their life that they've been maybe having some challenges, and sorting that out and getting them on the right track so those things are not having an adverse effect on their life or their business.
Mm-hmm. And you mentioned that you run a lifestyle business. So do you do everything that you do? Do you do that from home? Is that what you?
Yes.
So all your consulting and your coaching, you do all of that from home?
Yep, exactly. So back in early 2010, I started a brick and mortar hypnotherapy practice, and I did that for a few years. And what I found was my passion was really working with business owners, and I started to, being of the entrepreneurial mindset myself, I started to reach out beyond my local clientele and started working with people over Skype and over the phone. And my clientele started to expand to an international clientele. And eventually I just completely phased out the local practice. And now even clients that I've worked with many, many years ago that are here local to me work with me over the phone.
And what do you enjoy most about what you do?
Well, there's a lot. So to have to say that there's one that I really enjoy most, that's actually a little tricky. I really have some very, very cool clients, people that are really awesome to work with. I have to say that if I had to choose the thing that I love the most, it's probably the diversity. It doesn't get boring. It doesn't get stale. It's not monotonous. I'm not always working on the same things with the same people. So there's a lot of diversity in my business and a lot of freedom and flexibility.
What is it that drives you, Alicia?
There's just this desire, I think, to feel a sense of accomplishment. And it's not a superficial sense of accomplishment. It's more of like a deep feeling of achieving what I set out to achieve. And if I don't feel that, that'll just gnaw at me. So there has to always be that feeling of accomplishing the next goal or the next task. And that really does motivate me quite a lot in my business.
How do you relax when you're not working in your business?
Well, I am a reader. I love to read. So oftentimes I will sit down on the couch, get myself nice and comfortable, and just dive into a good book, and not nonfiction type books. I'm a lifelong learner, so it's always something that is stimulating my mind, but that really gets me engaged and allows me to disconnect from other things, business or life related.
Yeah. And do you have any entrepreneurial role models?
I love to learn from people that I think have similar values, even if they are quite different personality-wise from myself. So one of those role models would be Dan Kennedy. Another would be Jay Abraham. Both are amazing marketing minds. Dan Kennedy is somebody that I love to learn from. I would say that on a personality level, we have little to nothing in common, but I love to, I love to learn his style of marketing and some of his approaches to conducting yourself in business.
Yeah, I think both of those are great guys. I mean, Jay Abraham's just amazing. I've listened.
He is, yeah, definitely.
A very, very smart guy. Alicia, can we talk about the time before you were an entrepreneur? What difficulties did you have to overcome when you started your business?
Well, I had attempted business multiple times and even failed and ended up filing bankruptcy on my very first business when I was in my early 20s. So there were a lot of mental obstacles that I had to overcome, a lot of fears, fear of failing again, fear of financial ruin again, and a lot of confidence-related issues. And I think that was what got me into the business and mindset coaching, why I had such a gravitation towards that when I was working with clients as a general hypnotherapist, because I could really relate to those types of internal obstacles to success.
Yeah. So how did you manage those internal obstacles?
A lot of inner work, a lot of learning, a lot of personal development, a lot of perseverance. It's not an overnight fix. There is no magic wand or no magic bullet. It really was a tenacity to overcome those things. And it's a work in progress. I know a lot of techniques and I apply a lot of different modalities, and I still find myself bumping up against things. It's just part of life.
Yeah. I mean, obviously there are people who are terrified of failing, aren't they? And in fact, they're so terrified that they won't even take that first step. And obviously you've had that knock back, and even that's not put you off. You've got up and carried on and sort of brushed yourself down and thought, well, I'm going to go again. So what makes you different in that respect compared to other people who don't do that, do you think?
It's a inner drive, really. A lot of people say that you've got to know your why, and there's some truth to that, but it's a little bit more than just lip service to identifying why you want to be successful as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. And some people say that it's kind of in your DNA, or it's just the way you are. You either have it or you don't. And I think it's more about timing, honestly, because I could say that at certain points in my life, I would not have had that drive. I would not have had the inner desire that was so strong that it would push me through all of the hurdles and falling down and, feeling like a failure, because you do fail a lot in business. There are a lot of things that you'll do that will not work. And if you are not at that place within yourself where you're just feeling that inner level of commitment, any of those challenges will immediately stop you in your tracks. And I'm just grateful to say that although I've had a lot of failures and I've had a lot of setbacks, I've been able to continue to kind of pick myself up, brush myself off, and keep going. And that has been, in and of itself, probably one of the key factors to why I am where I am today.
Yeah. Did you have any doubts that delayed you starting your business?
I had a lot of doubts, and I still sometimes find myself, I should actually say catch myself, because sometimes it's so almost unconscious what we're doing and where we're stopping ourselves. When I started my hypnotherapy practice, I remember the very first client that I worked with. I was so nervous. And without getting too spiritual or too metaphysical here, I'll say that in a lot of respects, I felt like the universe was just pushing me into it, helping kind of push me along, because I had a lot of fears and doubts and insecurities. I didn't know if it was going to work. I didn't know if I could be successful. There was just so much self-talk that was not really supporting the vision, so to speak. But I just took it one step at a time and just gained momentum along the way.
Yeah. And what mistakes did you make that slowed your journey?
A lot of what I would consider poor investments, investing in advertising with kind of the beginner's mistake of expecting it to yield results, and then when they didn't come in, being almost in a state of shock, especially because at that point there wasn't a whole lot of money. So any investment that I made really needed to be a strategic investment. Investing in really expensive software and programs that I was not ready for, that was probably even a more critical mistake, but one that you learn from and you grow from, and you just have to pick yourself up, dust yourself off, evaluate what the mistake was, and be smarter next time so you don't make the same mistake again. Yeah.
So you talk about advertising mistakes, and you also mentioned entrepreneurial role models of Dan Kennedy and Jay Abraham. So how have you learned from your advertising mistakes? What do you do differently now to what you did then?
Well, one of the things that I learned from Dan Kennedy that really is so valuable, whenever I do any type of advertising or marketing, I make sure that there is always a call to action, and finding opportunities in my marketing and advertising that really can have kind of a dual purpose. So one of the things that Dan always talks about is you don't want to advertise like I think he calls them the big dumb corporations or something to that effect. Yeah. And, that is going to be like your companies that are just slapping their logo all over the place and spending big money to do it. As small entrepreneurs, we have to be very smart, very strategic about how we're doing our marketing and our advertising. So when you have an opportunity for brand recognition, that's fine as long as that is a byproduct of a very savvy advertisement. So always having a call to action, using some of the basic principles that are going to really get your right qualified lead to kind of raise their hand, so to speak, and contact you. So everything that I do now, I try to cross-reference in my mind, how could this play out? And is there that potential for a secondary gain? Is this going to be a smart investment? And if this flops, is there some way that I can compensate for that?
And what are some of the things that you did before you started your business that'd be helpful tips to some of the listeners who haven't yet taken their first step on the entrepreneur way?
A lot of inner honesty. I'll say that a lot, and I write about it in my book, The Outside the Box Entrepreneur. The self-honesty part is a critical piece in your success, because so many people are setting goals and reaching for things that are not really their true desire, not really their real why, their real passion, their real motivation. Oftentimes people are envisioning somebody else's dream. We've heard it all before. I started my first online venture back in early, I think it was like 2001. So I've seen this this for a long time. But there is this common theme that really hooks people into kind of the entrepreneurial dream, the time freedom, the financial freedom, having the fancy cars in the garage and all the money in the bank and sitting on the beach with your laptop. And we've all seen it. We've all heard it. And you really, of course it sounds really good, right? But the real question is, why do you want to do this? What is your ultimate driving force? What inspires you? What do you want to spend your life, your days doing? Getting that type of clarity before you start to design your business is so important, because otherwise you're going to be taking actions that are not in alignment with what you really truly want. You're going to be investing in courses or programs that are teaching you things that you think are going to get you the money and the lifestyle that maybe are very contradictory to what you really truly want. So having that clarity about what's true for you is absolutely, probably hands down, one of the most important things that you can do at the very beginning of your journey to ensure that you're always staying on your right course.
Can we now talk about your entrepreneurial journey a little bit more, Alicia? Do you think culture is important from the beginning in a business?
I think it is. And that kind of ties into what I just shared, because when you know who you are, you know what you want your business to represent, then you're going to be making choices based on that. And if you're not clear about the culture in your business, then you're going to be hiring potentially the wrong types of people. You may be offering the wrong types of products or services. One example of this is if your business culture is respecting the value and the importance of family in people's lives, whether it's your own or your employees, and you're creating systems and structures that do not allow for flexibility or vacations, or for maybe you've got people that are on your team who are moms who need a little bit more time flexibility, you're going to run into a lot of problems. So it is very important to have a clear sense of who you are and what your business represents.
Knowing what you know now, is there anything that if you'd known it when you started out would have helped you to shortcut the learning curve? Yes.
So I mentioned that I made a lot of bad investments in different programs and different software and things like that. If I had known earlier on that just because something, we'll use a business software as an example, just because something is good doesn't mean that your business is ready for it, especially if it is if it's more expensive. So you really have to be aware of where you're at in your business before you just blindly start shelling out money for things that maybe your business structurally is not ready for. Had I known that then, things certainly would have been a lot different and a lot easier.
And how much does gut feeling influence your decisions in your business?
Huge. I remember one time I was listening to an interview and somebody had said, never trust your gut instinct. And that was the only person that I've ever heard say that. And I have no idea if that person is actually successful or not, because your gut instinct is so valuable. Now, the trick is there is a little bit of a distinction, because sometimes we have to be able to feel the difference between when we're just feeling fear because we of unresolved fears, doubts, and insecurities versus when our gut instinct is actually telling us something about this is not right, or this is the perfect employee, or this is the perfect client, or whatever the situation might be.
Yeah. What advice would you give to other business owners who may be struggling?
Struggling is very common. And one of the things that many, especially, I don't even want to say new entrepreneurs, really entrepreneurs at all different stages, don't realize is that you're not unusual. There's not something wrong with you. If entrepreneurs, regardless of what stage you're at in your business, realized that successful people have problems too, that they have the same types of doubts, the same types of insecurities, they have confidence issues, they have relationship issues. If you realized how many successful individuals have all the same types of challenges that you do, you would not be so quick to just chalk it up to, I'm a failure, there's something wrong with me, I'm never going to be successful, I'm not like so-and-so. Really valuable to understand that we're all very similar no matter what your level of success. It's just, will you allow yourself to persevere in spite of your fears, in spite of your doubts, in spite of your insecurities, and get yourself consistently to that next level?
How can business owners be resourceful in order to grow their businesses?
Well, we have to be resourceful. Most of us do not have the luxury of an unlimited budget to just build it, so to speak. So being savvy, being smart about how you're spending your money, look at everything as an investment, I think would probably be my number one suggestion. So if you're looking to bring on staff, look at it as an investment. How can this pay dividends in the long run? If you're investing in any type of marketing or advertising or education or coaching, really think about this a smart due diligence type of perspective. And, is it a good investment for my business? Yes or no? And then move forward from there.
Life is made of constant change, whether we like it or not, and many people say the only constant in life is change. Alicia, how do you try to keep up with change?
So I appreciate change for the most part. There's a natural tendency to resist certain change. Even when we say we want change, it's just the way that our brains are wired, just the way that our minds work, that there will be a certain resistance to change. If you cannot cope with that internal resistance, it will stop you. It will stagnate you. It will create a lot of stress and overwhelm. So knowing that it's okay to feel some resistance to change, even when it's change that you would consciously say, I want this change. Just being aware that it's natural, it's normal, and it's okay will actually help make that resistance process much easier and help you to transition into the change with more ease.
What is your favorite book on entrepreneurialism, business, personal development, leadership, or motivation? And can you tell us why you have chosen it?
There are a lot of books that I recommend and a lot of books that I love. One of the books that I think I'd like to recommend based on this conversation that I absolutely love, we've talked about Dan Kennedy, and I love Dan Kennedy's books. So I have a lot of them. And the one that, the one that I would recommend is his Marketing to the Affluent book. It's not even just about targeting affluent clientele. It's about the mindset that goes with entrepreneurship and the mindset of entrepreneurs. So I think that's a great one to have on your bookshelf and actually read it and then put it on your bookshelf.
Everyone, when you have a busy life, listening to audiobooks is a great way to expand your knowledge in the time when you may be doing other things, such as driving or when you are at the gym. We have a special offer for you of a free audiobook of your choosing. To choose your free audiobook, go to www.freeaudiobookoffer.com. As long as you've not already signed up, then you will qualify. Alicia, what I'd like to do with you now is just speculate a little bit about the future with you. What one thing would you do with your business if you knew that you could not fail?
I would very likely expand it to bring on more people and have more of a larger organization that is supporting entrepreneurs at different levels. So we would have more coaches who specialize in different things, everything from the mindset to the marketing and the actual very practical help with all of the specifics, all of the details, all of the implementation steps.
Mm-hmm. You've mentioned coaching, and obviously that's what you do, so it's obvious that you would talk about that. But how important do you think it is for entrepreneurs to have a coach? Because I know a number do, but I think a lot don't. I think that's the case. Do you agree with that? Yeah, and coaching is tremendously valuable, especially if you have the right coach for you. So there are so many coaches out there. There are business coaches, there are success coaches, there are life coaches. There's virtually every type of coach imaginable now, I think. The market is very saturated with coaches. There are a lot of coaches teaching people how to be coaches. I think I've even recently seen, I can't remember now, I'm probably going to say the wrong person, but there's some big name people that are now hiring and training and saying, do you want to have a coaching business? Be a coach. And now they have their coaching certification. So there's no shortage of coaches. That being said, when you have the right coach for you, someone who specializes in the area that you really need guidance and support and accountability with, that person will help you where you would normally kind of get stuck or stop or, bump up against your own wall or, keeping within your own bubble. They're going to help you to expand your bubble. They're going to help push you to that next level. They're going to encourage you. They're going to be a mentor. They're going to support you. And the accountability is really a big thing. What I found is a lot of my clients over the years, they just won't do it if they don't have accountability. And even my very, very, very successful clients who have already achieved a great deal in their business and life still will say to me, I need you to keep me accountable because otherwise this project is it's not going to get done in a timely manner. So that in and of itself, that tiny piece there is oftentimes worth the investment. What skill, if you were excellent at it, would help you the most to double your business? Well, being completely transparent here, I've already mentioned I'm certainly not perfect, nor do I proclaim to be.
And it's a little bit ironic because I've always been very successful in sales. In fact, I've come in as a consultant for companies. I've helped sell, very high ticket items, and just naturally always been very, very good at sales. And yet in my own business, I'm great with the sales part, the phone sales part of it, but I'm terrible with follow through. So it's for me to have that same tenacity in my own business as I do for my clients would very likely greatly enhance the success in my own company.
In 5 years from now, if a well-known business publication was publishing an article on your business after talking to your customers and suppliers, what would you like it to say?
Well, I would love for my clients and customers to say that I help to transform their lives. I already hear that feedback. It's why I do what I do. And that, I think, would ultimately be the ideal focus with respect to feedback from my clients and customers.
We are now at the part of the show where you share 3 golden nuggets with us. So, Alicia, what is your favorite quote and how have you applied it?
One of the quotes that I really like, it seems like it's not business related, but it is. Business and life they're not separate. And the quote is, "Life is supposed to be fun." When I started my business, and actually for many years, I've been scolded by those close to me that I take life too seriously. And when I started to soften up a little bit and I remind myself of this quote, life is supposed to be fun, including business. It shouldn't feel like drudgery. Life is too short to be miserable. You really have to find ways to enjoy as much of your life as you can, including all of the day-to-day things that maybe you would otherwise consider routine or mundane. The more that you can incorporate that joy in your life, that's really what success is. So that is my golden nugget, if you will, with respect to a quote.
Do you have any favorite online resource you can share with us?
Let's see. I have really been enjoying these. There's quite a few different websites now. I believe it's pronounced Coursera. It's a website where you can take. They're like short, bite-sized courses that have been created by different universities on all different topics: leadership, business, computer-related courses. There's so many different things. I think it's just a really fun resource. You can go on there and you can essentially get certain college-level training for free, basically, or for very, very affordable price over conventional college classes.
What is your best advice to other entrepreneurs?
My best advice is just enjoy your life as much as you can. And when you find yourself unhappy, miserable, struggling, it's really important to evaluate what it is that you really, truly want. And look at maybe what are you doing that is not in alignment with that, with what you want. You could be working 60 hours a week and love what you do. Be passionate, be energized, and that's wonderful, right? But if you're putting in your hours and you're miserable, you're unhappy, you feel unfulfilled, and maybe you're doing it because you keep telling yourself, well, I have to, I've got to support my family or I've got to support myself, and you're never allowing yourself to explore what else is possible for you. You have to have that real heart-to-heart with yourself, because you'll drive yourself into, an early death, a slow, miserable death. It's not worth it. There are always different alternatives. There are different things that you can do to restructure your business so that you're delegating things that are not right for you, or you're changing the way that you do things to be more accommodating to your other goals and preferences. There's always a solution, but you really have to be mindful of how you feel and be proactive so that you're creating a life and a business that you really, truly love.
Everyone, if you didn't manage to get a note of Alicia's favourite resource or her favourite books, then you can find the links on Alicia's show notes page. Just go to theentrepreneurway.com and search for Alicia or Alicia Cramer in the search box. Alicia, is there anything else that you'd like to add about your business?
Anyone who would like to connect with me, whether they would like to learn more about my products, my services, or connect with me through social media, they can go right to my website, which is aliciacramer.com. That's ALICIACRAMER.com. If you're struggling with certain mindset-related challenges, I do offer one-on-one services, but I also have very affordable resources like my Business Success Course Hypnosis audio program, which is, currently I think it's on sale right now for less than $50. Just a lot of different resources available through my YouTube channel, and of course, always just reach out and connect. I love connecting with people.
Thank you, Alicia. Alicia, it's been an honour having you on the show. You've really given us a lot of clarity and perspective on what it's like and what being an entrepreneur is about. So thank you very much for coming on the show.
It's been my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me on.
You're welcome. Thank you, Alicia.
Thank you for listening to The Entrepreneur Way. Subscribe to our podcast and follow us on Twitter @Neil D. Ball.